This is Ekitike. This is Roberto Firmino. This is Ekitike again, and this is Firmino again. Ekitike doesn't just score goals, he creates them. He isn't the kind of striker who just waits in the box hoping for a tap-in. At Frankfurt, he was everywhere, dropping deep, setting up his teammates. He was just as happy making the final pass as he was taking the final shot. Sound familiar? Just like Firmino, Ekitike makes those around him better. He is a player who is unselfish. And now with more talent around him like Wirtz and Salah, we're gonna see the Frenchman hit another level.
Das ist verwundbar, hat jetzt die Torchance. Ekitike! Ekitike!
Möglichkeitsvorteile.
Gegen Klostermann. Das ist ein gutes Zuspiel. Da ist die Chance.
Now the reason some people have their doubts is because of the price tag paid for him. A lot of money was spent on a player that you could argue has only had one good season, but that season was truly magical. At just 22 years old, the French striker lit up the Bundesliga with 15 goals and 8 assists in 33 league games, 22 goals and 12 assists in all competitions. Week after week, he stepped up for Eintracht Frankfurt, either scoring or setting up goals. He was so good that by the end of the season, he was named in the Bundesliga team of the season. That's an incredible return for a young player who was still finding his feet. The reason that he has only one good season is because he was never given the right opportunity. You see, Ekitike was considered a top prospect from a very young age. His real breakthrough came during the 2021-2022 season with Reims, his hometown club. He was just 19 years old, but you wouldn't have guessed it the way he played. Also, he was freakishly tall, so he just looked way older. That year, he scored 11 goals and got 4 assists in just 26 matches. A very good return for a teenager playing on a mid-table side. One of his best moments came early in the season when he came off the bench against Nantes and scored twice to turn a 1-1 draw into a 3-1 win.
Alexander flips, but then at the near post, Ekitike, he didn't have just one goal, he had two.
The Reims fans were buzzing. They couldn't believe that a local academy kid was already making this kind of impact. He had a build that you couldn't even make in pro clubs. He was tall, like NBA tall, but he was also fast. Then on top of that, he was good on the ball. The fact that he was this physical specimen, but could also link up with his teammates and make clever runs without the ball, made him attract a ton of attention from across Europe. By January of 2022, Reims couldn't hide this alien. Big clubs were circling, with Newcastle making a serious offer to sign him.
The representatives of Reims striker Hugo Ekitike have held further positive talks with Newcastle United.
But Ekitike chose to stay. He wanted to keep learning and improving his game. In fact, the Reims president, Jean-Pierre Caillot, stated that the club and Ekitike still had a piece of history to write together. As time went by, Ekitike's reputation kept growing, so it came as no surprise that another big club came calling. This time, it was the croissant lovers, PSG. In the summer of 2022, Ekitike made the move that every young French player dreams of. He was going to Paris Saint-Germain. He was initially brought on loan with an option to buy for around 35 million euros. For a kid from Reims, walking into a dressing room with Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi, it was like stepping into FIFA. It was exciting, but it was also a huge learning moment. Every day he got to train with some of the best players in the world. In that first season, he made 32 appearances, scoring 4 goals and getting 4 assists. And by the end of the season, he was holding his first major trophy, the Ligue 1 title. Now I know what you're thinking, winning Ligue 1 with PSG is like losing your virginity to a prostitute. But based on how Ekitike had played that season, it wasn't too bad for a 20-year-old. But the issue was that he wasn't getting regular playing time. His appearances were all mainly from the bench. And even when he showed moments of quality, he was never going to start over Messi, Neymar, or Mbappe. PSG though still believed in him and his potential, so they made his loan deal permanent. And going into the second season with Messi and Neymar gone and a new manager in Luis Enrique coming in, there was hope that Ekitike might finally get an opportunity. But that's not how it went. Under the Spaniard, Ekitike was pushed even further down the pecking order. In the first half of the 2024 season, he barely played. He wasn't even included in PSG's Champions League squad. In Ligue 1, he made just one appearance during that entire stretch. For a young player trying to develop, this was the worst possible situation to be in. Ekitike knew he had to make a change. As amazing as it was to be around world-class stars, he needed to play. Sitting on the bench wasn't going to help him reach the levels that he wanted. So he made the brave decision to leave the comforts of Paris and go somewhere where he can prove his value all over again. And that team was Eintracht Frankfurt. The club signed him initially on loan in January of 2024. It was the perfect move. Frankfurt had a strong record of developing young players, specifically strikers, and the fans there loved attacking football. Once he settled in, Ekitike quickly earned a spot in the starting lineup. He scored his first Bundesliga goal on April 19, 2024 in a 3-1 win over Augsburg.
Needs to be less flowery and a little more direct. That's it! That's exactly what you need to be!
Now, he ended the half season with just 4 goals and 2 assists in 14 appearances, but Frankfurt had seen enough. They made his loan deal permanent. The moment that convinced them was probably the goal that he scored against Bayern Munich.
There's a shooting chance and there's a wonderful goal! And that is how to finish. Ekitike.
That was a moment that got everyone talking. A young striker scoring a wonder goal against the biggest team in Germany. From that moment on, his confidence just exploded. Because going into the 2024-2025 season, Ekitike was a different player. In the Bundesliga, he scored 15 goals and provided 8 assists. Across all competitions, he finished with 22 goals and 12 assists. He was unstoppable. Only 4 players in Europe's top 5 domestic leagues generated a better combined non-penalty expected goals and expected assist figure than Ekitike. And guess who those 4 players were? It was Salah, Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Mbappe. So pretty good company to be a part of. Every week, Ekitike was either scoring or creating. At 6'3", he could hold off defenders with ease. But what surprised everyone was his quick feet and creativity. He often dropped deep to get the ball, then he would turn and either dribble past a bunch of players or pick out a smart pass. He was constantly moving, drifting into wide spaces, making it hard for the defenders to track him. Look at his goal against Victoria Pilsen in the Europa League.
Lovely touch, brilliant goal!
He wiggled away 2 defenders, played a 1-2 with Rasmus Christensen, then put the ball in the back of the net. This guy is built like Victor Wembanyama and moving like this. It shouldn't be possible. This is actually a great sign for Liverpool fans because it shows that he's very effective against low blocks. He is fantastic at sniffing out opportunities in the box. As you can see from this graphic from The Athletic, 8 of his finishes came from inside the opposition's 6-yard box. His dribbling though is his best weapon. He averaged nearly 4 dribbles per game, putting him in the top 5% of all strikers in the Bundesliga. And when he got into dangerous areas, he wasn't selfish. He loved to involve his teammates. That's why he averaged 1.5 key passes per 90 minutes, meaning that in every match, he created at least 1 or 2 big chances for other people. And of course, he wasn't afraid to shoot. He took almost 3 shots per game, with more than half of them hitting the target. That mix of him being creative and a goal threat is what made him such a nightmare for defenders. I don't know what that feels like after watching Nunez for 3 years. Like, look at what this man did to Spurs in the Europa League.
To do here. And that is a fabulous strike! Oh, goodness gracious me!
Frankfurt were one of the most threatening teams on the break in the 2025 season, and a big part of that was because of Ekitike. He was involved in one way or another in the counters. Either he was finishing the play off himself or creating a chance for his teammates. Fun fact, only Salah racked up more goal contributions from fast breaks than Ekitike in the 2025 season. Look at what the Frenchman did to Borussia Mönchengladbach. Even though he has these long, lanky legs like Slender Man, he's always in control when he's dribbling, which is what makes him so terrifying. Like, look at what he did to Ajax in the Europa League. This is what Liverpool needed, a striker that can progress the ball himself. Look at the following graphic. It shows his forward carries in the Bundesliga. He loves to drive forward with the ball. Nunez offered a vertical threat, but the final pass or finish was always missing. Ekitike, meanwhile, brings way more fluidity to the attacking line. This is a player that will get others involved. His partnership with Marmoush was ridiculous before the Egyptian got picked up by Man City. They would constantly combine and just punish teams. So imagine these same passages of play and just replace Marmoush with Wirtz or Salah.
Once again, Marmoush and Hugo Ekitike at the double.
According to The Athletic, Ekitike was in the 95th percentile for key passes, the 94th percentile for shot creating actions, and the 93rd among all forwards for expected assists. So now imagine what he can do when he's surrounded by better players. Only 3 players had more shots following ball carries than Ekitike, and that was Yamal, Mbappe, and Mason Greenwood. Ignoring Mason Greenwood, that's pretty good company to be a part of. It was Ekitike's powerful runs that opened up space for his teammates when Frankfurt scored against Leipzig. The fact that he can facilitate will be so beneficial for Slot because Liverpool already have direct wingers that can score goals on their own. When you have players like Salah and Gakpo that can cut inside and score, you don't need an out-and-out 9. You need a player like Ekitike who can provide you with more than just goals. The Frenchman's height makes him a solid aerial presence and offers Liverpool the ability to play direct. One long ball from the back to him, he can hold it up, then play someone like Wirtz or Salah through on goal. That's what Frankfurt did time and time again. Here he is against Heidenheim, bringing a header down to Mario Götze to begin the attacking move, and then he ends up finishing the chance himself with a simple tap-in. Ronaldo would be proud.
Oh, it's a nice one. Brown, tapping Ekitike, all over. Heidenheim.
You can also play the ball to his feet and he'll produce quality-like passes that lead to goals, like what he did against Victoria Pilsen. Now usually, players that are this tall are only good in the air, but Ekitike is also super pacey. In this goal against Dortmund, he drops into space to play a 1-2 with Christensen, then crashes the penalty area, finishing off the chance himself.
Painful. And a good ball in and swept home by Hugo Ekitike.
In the 2025 season, Ekitike was the only center forward in Europe's top 5 leagues to both carry the ball into the opposition penalty area 50 times and record more than 200 touches inside it. In and around the box, he's always finding space to do damage. He is very clever with his link-up play, constantly finding players from angles that you didn't even know existed. And he does it with flair. Salah will no longer be the only player at Anfield doing Trivelas. Here's Ekitike using the same technique in the DFB Pokal. That's the type of player he is. He plays with confidence and swagger. He lets his balls hang on the pitch. He isn't afraid of big occasions at all. In fact, it seems, based on his play and celebrations, that he actually quite enjoys the spotlight. So if you're worried that he might feel the pressure of his price tag, I don't think he will. He knows the Liverpool shirt comes with big expectations, but there's nothing to suggest that he will shy away from it. In Slot's system, the number 9 needs to work just as hard off the ball as they do on the ball. Frankfurt didn't press a lot last season, but when they did, Ekitike was the one leading the charge, and he did it quite well. According to Optavision data, he ranked in the Bundesliga's top 7 for pressures in both the opposition half and the final third. He averaged 15.3 high-intensity pressures per 90 in the final third, which was the highest at Frankfurt. As I stated, it's hard to watch this guy play and not see shades of Firmino. The Brazilian was also a product of the Bundesliga. The way Ekitike presses, the way he pulls off clever flicks and brings others into the play, it's very Firmino-esque. But of course, Ekitike is his own player and he's going to want to write his own story at Anfield. It should just get Liverpool fans excited. Their attack is going to look more dynamic than ever. Most people were already orgasming when they got Wirtz. Now the guy ahead of him is a 6'3" striker who can score goals and create them, and he's only going to get better because he's so young. It's not often you find a forward who can do all of those things at once. The combinations that can be made now at Liverpool are honestly crazy. Now the Reds have completely ransacked the Bundesliga. To see the new duo they picked up from Germany in Wirtz and Frimpong, you gotta watch this video right here.